Whatever tabletop role-playing game you're playing, and whether you're doing it as a player or as a game master, we all make characters. Those characters come together to have conversations or fights, and stories occur. How do you make a character a unique individual, not just a version of yourself? How do you make Guard A, B, and C all feel like unique individuals? And how do you make your new ranger not just a copy of Aragorn again? We do that through motivation, values, and personality. This man's name is Brandon Sanderson. In addition to being a New York Times best-selling author, he also teaches a course on writing fantasy and science fiction. Even if you don't like his writing, the lecture series is excellent, and the 2025 series just finished up plot and character and is now going into world building and magic systems. And whether you're a player or a dungeon master or someone that really likes the plot of a game, the world building of a game, or a sandbox style game, we can all be better at creating and playing characters. I'm James. I've been a dungeon master for 25 plus years, and on this channel I talk about the things I plan and plot for my tabletop role-playing games. I want to talk about all the things that I took out of his lecture on character and how I'm going to apply them to my games, both as a dungeon master and as a player. At the root of our character is their motivation. They're going off and doing whatever they're doing for a reason. What is that reason? Why does Bruce Wayne go off and become Batman? Why does Darth Vader want to end this destructive conflict and bring order to the universe? Why does Edward Elric go off seeking the Philosopher's Stone? We do what we do because of the things that came before, our backstories. So too do our characters. I did a previous episode on backstories, and I stand by what I said there. I don't like it when players fully flesh out their backstory as if they are writing a novel. That's the point of the story that we're telling together. I just need a blurb on what happened to them in all their experiences up to Luke leaving the farm because he doesn't want to be a moisture farmer anymore. But that does not preclude what Sanderson is talking about here with his motivations. Edward Elric does what he does because of what he did as a child. He tried to do something along with his brother. It was his idea. It cost his brother practically everything. And because of the guilt that he feels for that mistake, he is trying to find a way to rectify it, to fix it. Along the way, Edward's motivations change, or be better to say that he gains more motivations, but that's because of his values. He always retains the initial motivation, fix the mistake. Edward Elric is answering many of the questions Sanderson recommends in his lecture that we ask of our characters. What mistake are they never going to make again? Edward is never going to try to resurrect anyone again. He knows the cost of it. What secret don't they want anyone to find out? That he tried to resurrect someone. It is a taboo for a good reason, and he doesn't want that to get out. How does he deal with his own guilt over what happened? How does he interact with blaming himself? He interacts with it by going and trying to find a way to rectify that mistake. Got a little options he could have chosen from. He could have sat there paralyzed by his own guilt. We would not have had a story in that case. He could have blamed others for it. That would lead him down the path of being a villain. He could take responsibility for it and try to fix it, which is ultimately what he does, which is why he's a hero. For a role-playing example, we're going to use the character Shuld that I am playing in my friend Zozo's campaign. Shuld is a halfling paladin. Before the start of the campaign, he made a promise to somebody that he would protect them, that they would live. And he didn't. They died. And he's having a difficult time dealing with that. What failure will Shuld never repeat again? No one else will ever die on his watch. He will die first because he has survivor's guilt. What secret doesn't he want to get out, doesn't want other people to know about? He harbors a lot of self-doubt. He believes that he gets his paladin powers from his god, and they are all powerful beings. So if they could give him all the power to protect these people, then the problem must not be with his gods or those people. It must be with himself. He must be unworthy of the power that his gods have given him. How does he interact with blaming himself? His name is literally guilty conscience, so, not well. He deals with it by drinking. And eventually that's going to be incompatible with his other motivation. I feel guilt, and I don't know how to deal with it, so I deal with it by ignoring it and drinking it away. And I want to be worthy and protect people. These things don't work together. I've got to find a way to forgive myself and get out from under this rock so that I can then be worthy of my God and my mission and be a paladin and actually protect people and my party. As a dungeon master working with NPCs, I'm used to dealing with the motivations in the same way that I would with characters. I'm used to giving them to big NPCs, the ones that are major allies of the players, like kings and queens, the magic item merchant that they're always going back to, or something like that. But when it comes to the random guard that some players decided this character is the one that's going to be their friend, what's their name? What's their backstory? Where do they come from? Do they have a family? They're going to be my new best friend. They're the key to this whole adventure. It can be difficult to just grab a motivation out of thin air that makes them feel different from guard A, B, and C. I think it's helpful to just riff on a theme. The guard wants to get it home at night, of course. They want to get paid, but the pay's not that great. Why did they join the city guard? They probably want to protect a thing. It might be the whole city. It might just be the neighborhood. Maybe they just want to protect their family. Once you get that motivation, you can start filling in more motivations. What do I care about some dragon off in the mountains? I care about the thieves guild that is destroying my neighborhood. Whereas the captain guard might legitimately care about the dragon off in the woods. Yes, they are in the town the same as the guard and their family is here, but they also care about all the other men that are under their command. When that dragon flies in here, it's going to barbecue the entire town, and my men that are unprepared to fight a dragon. Maybe our guard is in an evil town, one where everything is corrupt, like Zental Keep in Forgotten Realms. I don't even think that's technically in Forgotten Realms anymore. I think it got wiped out in 4th edition. But that's beside the point. Collaborating with the evil people that are in charge of the town may be this character's best way of protecting their family. They don't have adventuring powers. They can't go do anything about these arch wizards and these demon priests and whatever cult is in charge. They're doing what they can to protect the people that were within the immediate sphere of their influence. They're doing the best they can in a bad situation. Once we've got these motivations, whether it's for our own characters or for the NPCs, we have the first building block. The second one is their values. In Sanderson's lecture, he says values are the answer to the question, what is the character going to have to give up in order to get what they need? I don't think it's always that way or not giving things up. Maybe they value something high-minded, like honor or justice, integrity, or maybe they value something more concrete, their family, their community, their friends. Maybe they value something very base, like greed or power. And they may have multiple values. You could have a character that values their family and their friends, but also values power, like Raceland in the Dragonlance Chronicles. And when it comes down to it, and he wants more power, he is willing to give up his family. Or they may be a character that's like Superman, and they really want to stop Lex Luthor, but in order to do so, he would ultimately have to debase himself, dishonor himself, and give up his belief in justice. And he's never going to be willing to do that. So Lex Luthor will ultimately always get away. In Dungeons & Dragons and other fantasy RPGs, the shorthand for values is the alignment system. No, it did not originally mean that. It meant something more like a religion, but something like this person follows the religion of law. Okay, they know a bunch of religious practices. What does that really do to help me flesh out a character in the moment and understand how they think, which might be differently than how I think? But if you tell me the character is lawful evil, okay, now we're getting somewhere. I have some idea about what this character values. They have some organization that maybe they believe in, or they have a code of conduct, some personal beliefs that they believe are important. Maybe I believe that this organization is a greater good, and I am willing to debase myself in order to make sure that that continues to be a greater good. Or I am willing to give my word, but I don't see anything wrong with a lie of omission or weaseling out of the word and say, I knew what you meant, but you didn't say that, kind of like Odin. Or maybe it's something corrupt as, I don't care about the rogues. I don't care about the reason for doing it. I don't care about the poor. I don't care if they have any excuses for what it is. All I care about is that my city is currently in disorder. You can go do whatever you want to those rogues. Or maybe this hypothetical guard that we're dealing with here is lawful good instead of lawful evil. In case they're not okay with the players just doing whatever it is that they want. No, you can't just go kill these rogues. I know they broke the law, but I need them to face justice. The people of this town need them to face justice. We need to know that after you adventurers have gone on your way, the legal systems that we have here to protect our society are going to maintain themselves. We can't have adventurers just going and killing whoever they disagree with. Going back to my character Shuld, eventually his motivations are going to run headlong into his value, and he's going to have to figure out a way to change or adapt or do something with them. He believes that a character that has the ability to act should do so to protect the innocents. He can't do that while he is wallowing in self-pity and drowning that in drink. I mean, I guess he doesn't have to do that. He could continue to wallow, but that's not really a character that I want to play. Your characters are not locked into these values. Those things might change as they continue to go out in the world, as they have adventures. Going back to the Elric brothers, as they continue to adventure, the values that Edward has change his motivations. He wants to save all of Amestris because while he does continue want to save his brother, he believes that alchemy should be used as a force for good for the people and is going to be used to perpetrate a great evil among them, as it was used to perpetrate an evil on some of the people that Edward cares about in the series. So he adds to his motivations because of his values, and he turns into a greater hero than just, I want to find a way to fix my brother. Still wants that, but he wants more. Some players will set up the values and the motivations of the character and the species and the class and go, the character must be like this. But that's not at all true. Take motivations, for example. If you have a bunch of characters from Harry Potter, they ostensibly all go to Hogwarts for the same motivation, to be a wizard. And they go for other motivations as well, but certainly they all share that one. The Harry Potter houses are legitimately their values. Except for maybe Ravenclaw, that one's a little weird. Within Gryffindor, there are many different personalities. The Weasley twins are jokers, class clowns. Harry Potter is the quintessential hero. He is brash, rushing to action without really thinking about it many of the times, but he's also self-sacrificing. Hermione is analytical and measured. Ron has a definite envy problem. He is jealous of not only Harry, but also his own brothers because of all the attention that they've got, and he's looking for a way to find some amount of glory. Neville is passive, shy, but because they all share the same motivation, wanting to be a wizard, and they all share the same value, we value bravery and heroism, we can count on them to all do the same thing when a question comes up about defending other people. They're just going to all do it with their own individual slant on values and motivation. Personality is also where we get our flaws. Going to my character Shuld, his alcoholism is not his flaw. That is the manifestation of his flaw. His flaw is that he can't forgive himself. He can forgive other people, and they might be able to forgive him, but he will always be harder on himself than anybody else is. It wouldn't even matter if his God came down and said, I forgive you. I don't have any problem with what you did. This isn't your fault. He's having a problem forgiving himself. Until he gets past that flaw, he's always going to have problems being a full hero and living up to his values and his motivations. When it comes to building like random NPCs and characters that I have to deal with, I have a kind of grid that I use with a bunch of personality traits that I think of as kind of diametrically opposed. I don't know that they really are anything like this. This is not a psychology thing. So, your mileage may vary or you may not want to use this list. This is just what helps me. Is a character passive or are they aggressive? Are they humorous or are they stoic? Are they friendly or are they cold? Are they calculating or are they impulsive? Once I've got a few of these, I've got a pretty good idea of how they would combine into a personality. And then I can wrap that now all around my motivations and my values. And I have a complete character, or at least one that I can build on as the players decide that this random guard is going to be their new best friend. It's also perfectly fine to have an iconic character. Character that doesn't deal with a lot of intrinsic motivations and intrinsic values, that is just who they are on the face of it. Indiana Jones is one of my favorite characters, and he is definitely an iconic character. He's always who he is. He's always who he's going to be. He's always who he was. We don't really know why Gimli and Legolas do what they're going to do, other than the fact that Elrond told them that they should go along and get rid of this ring. And people have had fun playing versions of Legolas and Gimli for decades. It is a perfectly fine thing to do to just play Legolas again. Again, I think you should go watch Brandon Sanderson's full lecture series because it is fantastic. And even as a dungeon master that likes a sandbox world with an emergent narrative rather than one that I preform, There's a lot in there for looking at different kinds of narratives so that when my players decide to do something and I can riff on it and go, we're doing this kind of narrative and present with something. And when they do something else, I can go, nope, we're going to switch over to this narrative to try to keep them engaged. And there's definitely a lot in the world building. I've already used that in several videos. So there's a lot to dig in there, but it is not directed at TTRPG players. So this is the kind of stuff that I wanted to give a lens to it as a TTRPG player watching that. Until next time, Dungeon Masters, remember you're a player too. Try to have some fun.